All right, let's talk about the Samsung Note 20 Ultra. This is their premium flagship super phone right now. It's packed to the gills with features. It's got that 120Hz screen, that new upgraded S Pen, and it's got this 50x zoom. Now the image quality isn't fantastic, right? But this is the kind of stuff you need to do when you want to get this far away and this wide from your smartphone. It's pretty nuts. I gotta get out of the sun because it is so hot. So hot. So I've been using the Note 20 Ultra for about 5 days now, and there's some kind of early thoughts I have about this phone I want to share with you guys. This is the nicest looking phone that Samsung has made, in my opinion. There's something about the finish on this thing. So normally Samsung does like the super glossy finish. They have this really nice matte texture that I think is better than anyone else's matte texture. This is a really nice look. And there's also, it's such a simple design element, but this simple ring around each lens makes such a big difference in how it looks. Like this is a very similar shape and size of camera hump to the S20 Ultra, let's say, but this looks so much better in my opinion. Those rings are on point. Now, here's the downside to this phone. It is a huge camera hump. You gotta case this phone. Like the bump is what feels like 3.5, maybe 4 millimeters. It is a big bump, and if you don't case it, I feel like this hump is going to catch on a lot of things. Like when I put this thing in and out of my pocket, I can notice that hump. Like it's just that pronounced, which is a shame, right? Because the moment you case this thing, it masks this. This is the thing that makes it look so good, the back glass of it. But that's the nature of a beautiful phone with a massive camera hump. Now, the camera itself, my initial impressions of this thing is that it's a really solid camera this year. It's got that 50x zoom. I don't think that most people are going to be using this thing on a regular basis. Like that kind of zoom is tough to actually make proper use of, but it's got that capability if you need it. It's also interesting that they got rid of the 100x zoom, like the one from the S20 Ultra. I would have thought they would have carried that tech over to this thing, but 50x is already really good. And I think the image quality on this is what they're focusing on this time around. Now, the screen. This is a display that it's the best in class, right? This, 120 hertz, 1440p, this is the screen of dreams. It's very fast, it's fluid, it's super bright, great colors. This is a flagship screen. It does, however, still have curved edges. I mean, Samsung likes to do that on their premium flagships. They curve the edges of the glass, which I personally don't love. The regular Note 20, like the non-Ultra version, has a flat glass, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, if you're into curved screens, you're going to like this one. The performance on the phone is excellent, like you'd imagine, right? It feels very fast and games run nicely on it. The Note 20 launch event also showcased the upcoming Xbox cloud gaming service. I'm very excited for that thing, but the Note doesn't get first dibs on that platform or anything. They're just a launch partner. All right, the Pen has also been upgraded this year to have a more responsive interface, so it's now running with 9 milliseconds of latency. It's a very responsive screen and pen interface. But here's the thing, when it comes to pens and phones, I don't feel like latency is a huge deal. Like when it comes to creative work, like tablets and people are drawing on that stuff, absolutely. The lower the latency, the better. I want 1 millisecond, I want 0 milliseconds. But when it comes to this stuff, people are just using the pen on their phones for jotting down notes. And I don't feel like it's a big deal. I'm not saying that it's not good that they put it in, but if you're interested in the Note 20, like the cheaper version of this Note 20 series, like the regular Note 20, not the Ultra, that has a latency time of 26 milliseconds, which is a lot slower than the 9 on the Note 20 Ultra, but I don't think that should be like the main reason why you should purchase one or the other, because it is just for note taking for most people. Just keep that in mind. So I want to talk about pricing, and I feel like the conversation around the Note 20s, like both the Ultra and the regular one, revolve strongly around the pricing. And here's the thing, if this thing was a $500 phone, so many people would buy this phone, right? Because it's just packed with so much good stuff. But because it's not, it's a $1,300 phone, we have to have the conversation of price. Now, this is a phone that has always been one of Samsung's most expensive phones, and they usually get a pass into charging whatever they want to charge, because there's not many other companies that make something quite like this. If you want like a high quality, big phone with a pen that slots right inside it, usually people go for the Note. Now this year at $1,300, I feel like it's an appropriately priced product. Like it's not crazily overpriced, right, considering the pricing of the entire smartphone market. But there is a brother to this, like the $1,000 regular Note 20 that's been somewhat controversial because it's so feature stripped and it has a plastic back and it still costs $1,000. But here's my take on it. To me, that phone feels overpriced. But here's the thing. When it comes to Samsung's phones, they price their stuff a little bit differently, right? Their stuff goes on sale so often and so aggressively, and I feel like they bake that kind of sale pricing into their retail pricing on these phones. Like these phones come out at these very high prices, like $1,300, $1,000. They're expensive, but Samsung stuff, it just goes on sale. And if you don't have these high MSRPs right at the beginning, you don't have that wiggle room down the line, right? When it comes to like holiday sales and whatever carrier sales that companies do, I feel like Samsung bakes that into their phones. So if you really want this stuff early on and you want to get like, you want to be an early adopter to this tech, you got to pay up, right? But I think for most people, if you let this stuff wait, let it simmer for a month or two, it comes down in price pretty quickly. So yes, that $1,000 Samsung Note 20 is weirdly overpriced, but I think it'll come down quite quickly. And I think that product, particularly the Note 20, not so much the Ultra, but that Note 20, I think is going to come down a lot over the course of this year. But yeah, my early impressions of this phone are really good. I think that this is the nicest looking phone that Samsung has put out to date. Like, look at this thing. It doesn't even look like a real phone. It looks like a render floating around my hand. It's so nice. But that wraps up my first impressions of this thing. I'll be doing a more extensive review in the near future. So if you have any particular questions, just ask them below and I'll do my best to get to them. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. I'll see you guys next time.